Hello guys, how are you? So I am just in my gym. I haven't long got home from training at the gym today. I wasn't 100% sure how to record this. I've been going through like scenarios in my head of ways to do it and stuff like that, but I feel like I just need to follow my gut, do what I feel I should do, and yeah, basically, bit of a strange one. I've recently been diagnosed with ADHD at 40 years old. I still don't truly know how I feel about everything. It was a little bit of a shock. Or was it a shock? I don't really know, to be honest. I've always felt a bit different. I've always felt like I don't cope with things as well as others do. And there's so many other things and examples that I could give you, but I just don't feel like this video is the right time to do that. But yeah, I've always, I've talked on here so many times about mental health. I've shared videos about mental health, my past and stuff like that. And I feel like I've got to an age now where my hormones are changing due to perimenopause. And it seems to be becoming quite common now. It's not really common, to be fair, that's not the right word. It's becoming more known now that when you go through hormone changes, it means that if you do have things like ADHD, it kind of comes to the surface a bit more, because I've become clever at masking how I feel and how I do things, and because certain hormones are dipping and stuff like that, it's kind of more of a struggle for me to mask things. So the way I feel about things are really, really heightened at the minute. 5 weeks ago, I had absolutely no clue that that is what I had. But yeah, I did a few tests online with some companies. I went to the doctors, spoke to my doctor. He was like, yeah, I'm going to refer you for an assessment. So I was like, in my head, I was like, right, okay. The waiting list at the moment for adults, I don't know about children, but the waiting list for adults is 3.5 years to go through a diagnosis with a psychiatrist. There is absolutely no way I could wait that long. I think it would have drove me crazy. And one of the things with me is that once I have got something in my head, I want it done instantly. I'm really impatient, and I always have been. So I did loads of research on private companies that do assessments, and I found one. It's been quite a quick turnaround, but I suppose that's the benefit of going private. And yeah, I had my assessment with a psychiatrist. I had done loads of online forms before the appointment, and basically we was on the phone for about an hour, and he was talking me through, he was just asking me questions about my life. He had the assessments in front of him that I'd filled out beforehand. And yeah, at the end he said, yeah, you've got a strong diagnosis of ADHD. I don't know if you guys know too much about it, and to be honest, I don't, but it is something that I'm now going to start researching more so. But you can get two types. You can get the inattentive side of ADHD, and then you've got the hyperactive side of ADHD. And I apparently have both. And it is something that you're born with. It's not something that you can develop. One thing that worries me about this diagnosis is the perception of others, how people perceive me as such. People thinking that this is all just a fad and people are getting diagnosed left, right and centre. It's not. It's like I said, I've always felt like I struggle with certain things, but my mind is constantly going 100 miles an hour, and it always has done. So yeah, so I feel like I've got a lot of clarity now. I now need to decide what I'm going to do with the information. I've told like close family first before I obviously, and my clients, before obviously doing a video like this. But my whole business and my whole business page is about transparency and about being honest. And I feel like this is something that I should and want to share, because it might make people think about things differently. It might maybe give people clarity when it comes to me and maybe how I've perhaps acted in the past, and maybe now it gives some sort of reasoning as to why I am the way I am. Now, with ADHD, there's also something called RSD, which is rejection something disorder. So basically, you constantly feel like you're being rejected, and that is definitely my case with it. Yeah, I never really get close to people, especially when it comes to friendships. I self-sabotage to a degree because of being hurt in the past and being hurt within my own family environment. It's kind of heightened a little bit. So I'm constantly going to feel like I'm going to be rejected. So in the past, I've had friends when it comes to like maternity leave and people that I just meet when I go out or whatever, but they never seem to last because I kind of tend to look at things in a slightly incorrect way. So I kind of pull myself back and I don't allow myself to be close to that person. It probably explains why I have fallen out with so many friends in the past. It's not even falling out, it's just a case of it just fizzles out. It explains why at the moment I don't really have what I would call a proper friendship with anybody, which is sad to say, but it's the truth. I've got like really good clients, and I've got a relationship with my husband, but I haven't really got that environment of having that friendship, so to speak. So that's something that I definitely want to explore in my head and how I can move forward with that, because it does get lonely at times. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are positives to having ADHD. We are creative, we are empathetic. When we are focusing on a project that is something that we are really passionate about, we give it 110%. And there's so many more. It's not all negative. It's not all negative at all. But I think for me, I feel sad because it's taken 40 years to be told that. And if I had have been told that as a young girl, and apparently the diagnosis in girls is really low compared to the diagnosis in boys, my life might have been slightly different. Now, I'm not ungrateful for what I've got in my life at the moment. That's not what I'm saying. But I do feel like I probably could have handled certain situations better, and probably not be as lonely as I am now because of the way I've acted out. And I almost feel like I'm in mourning a little bit for the person that I potentially could have been for the first 40 years of my life. But that being said, I now know what's going on, so I'm going to try and use it as a positive as much as I can going forward for the rest of my life. It's just really, really hard for me to get my head around all this, to be perfectly honest. And like I said, I am worried about how people are going to see me now. And I don't know why I feel that. I have been really emotional the last few days, because it's not a case of I'm emotional because I've been told I have it. I'm emotional because I feel like I'm angry that maybe it's not been picked up before in my life with all the mental health and counselling that I've had. and angry that it's not something that I'm angry because I could have potentially have done something maybe before to not get to this point. So yeah, so it's one of them really. I'm really up and down with emotions at the moment. It's not the end of the world, but it just means that my brain works slightly different to, I suppose, a normal brain. But there's so many of us out there, kids, adults. There's so many adults getting diagnosed at the minute because it was missed when we were kids. More so women, especially going through perimenopause or menopause. I have got a lot of empathy for people that are going through it or know somebody that's going through it. Yeah, it's a weird one. I just feel really numb at the minute and it's really difficult. But like I said, my business has always been about transparency, and I've always been quite open in talking about my mental health. So much so that people have messaged me and said, oh, thank you for talking about what you talk about. It's helped me a lot. It's made me think things. And if this can help somebody by me talking about this and talking about how I feel with it, then yeah, my job's done, I suppose. But yeah, like I say, right now I'm just letting it digest what's going on. And I will then think about what I'm going to do going forward when it comes to things like CBT, medication. I've got no idea. It's a whole new world that I've not really been a part of before. But it does answer a lot of questions. It wouldn't have changed anything. Having the diagnosis earlier in my life would not have changed the sad situation that I had with my own family. That still would have been the case. But I suppose I might have been better equipped to deal with the sad state of affairs that I had when I was growing up. But I suppose I got through it. I'm here. I am 40 and I've dealt with it all this time. Even if it has been a struggle, but in my head I didn't know that I didn't know. I just never would have thought that it was something that I would have, and it's causing me a lot of confusion as well. But the psychiatrist that I had was a lovely guy. He was really sweet to me at the end of the phone call. He was giving me some real positives. He said, like, clearly you're a really nice person, you're an empathetic person. And he was kind of saying stuff like, I'm not telling you to do this, he said, but you would make a fantastic counsellor. Counselling is not something that I would ever go into, but I think it's lovely for somebody that's spoken to me for an hour to kind of get that feeling from me. And I feel like that's why I probably hold on to clients for quite a long time as well, because I am empathetic and I care. So yeah, so I'll leave it there because I feel like I'm just going to ramble on and on. But yeah, I hope this message goes down well as it can do. I just need to take some more time out to digest it and think about what I'm going to do. But yeah, there you go. That's my update. And I'll speak to you guys soon.